Awesome. All right.
And the document's up behind if you want to share it.
Okay, cool. So this session is all about becoming an apprentice. And an apprentice means whatever level you're functioning at now, you have a goal, you have a dream, you have a vision of where you want to go with this thing called PAC. And to get there, you're going to work with us to get to that next place, that place that you want to be. And so we've put together some options based on what we're currently doing, what we're being asked to do, where my goal is for me to step away from some things and have other people pick them up and do them, and for us to provide opportunities for people who are curious and interested and becoming skilled to step forward and do things. And we want to give you things that we know are out there. We know that there are possibilities. So we've really got it divided into two major arenas. And I'm going to see if I can just switch and get the, there.
You're not sharing it.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right. My bad. Okay, let me go down here and share the screen first. I thought I was sharing the screen. I can't share the screen. Don't share the screen. Share the screen. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. So we have it broken down into two major categories. You might be choosing to work toward being a lead, the head, the one who's getting it done, the one who's taking responsibility for having it be yours. Or you might choose right now to not be the lead. You want to be a support person who's helping another person. You're actively involved, but you don't have full responsibility for everything. But you are actively engaged in the PAC community, becoming more skillful yourself, but you don't have the responsibility to lead this kind of thing. And over on the lead side, as you can see, there are 4 categories. You could choose to be a lead speaker for PAC. You could choose to be a lead trainer for PAC. You could choose to be a lead mentor for PAC, or you could choose to be a lead consultant for PAC. And that means you're representing this organization, this system, not just internally, but externally. So this is that external outreach. And as such, you would negotiate and work with PAC as a organization. You're not out there on your own, which you are when you're being proficient. You're working on your own. You got support, but you're doing your thing. This integrates you more into the community, and you become part of the community, and you're engaged with. So those are the leadership, and we'll talk more about those. But the other side of it is that you're going to be more of a support person for these leads. So you could be a support speaker, and that really, we'll talk more about that. You could be a support trainer, which means you'll work with a lead trainer. You could be a support mentor, which means in the CERT courses, you work as a support person to the lead mentor. You could be a TIPA assist. You could get to be a groupie with me and come and party at my house and get to be my partner and get to be at a PR table and do all kinds of fun things along that line. Or you could be a support consultant for some of the new consultant stuff that we're building and we're building out. So those are your main categories. And under each of those, there are going to be a list of opportunities. There will be a list of skills needed, what level you need to demonstrate skill at in order to be doing that kind of thing. And then there's a list of responsibilities, reimbursement rate, and what kind of connections to the PAC leadership and guidance community you will have if you opt to do that. Okay. So that's the basic format of this. And the apprentice days are for you to prepare and come, rehearse and practice. So by the end of the second day of the apprenticeship, you're demonstrating the skill, or you know where you are and you know what you need to achieve in order to get to that skill set so that you are able to take on that role and that responsibility and engage in that way. So I want to check in with everybody just to see whether or not this thing is making sense for what it is that we're proposing or not. So I'm going to stop sharing. Oh. Pushing Manda's screen doesn't work like pushing my screen because she does not have a touch screen. I had a little bit of a problem with adapting to new equipment. So, questions or thoughts? And I'm just going to cruise around with who's here as far as from what you've just heard, how you're feeling, thinking, what's going on in your head, given just the basic core of what I've just said. Jessica, do you want to chime in here?
It sounds like you guys are really getting organized to organize us, which is fantastic all around.
Okay, good. Okay, any specific questions that came up in your mind as I was going through this, or we'll go into depth, but I just want to get the overview.
Well, I'm sure that as you explain more in depth, those questions will be answered.
Or at least we'll raise them up anyhow.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mary Lee, what about you?
I agree with I'm impressed. And I think this is a really good way for us to hone in on what we feel we want to excel in. What if we choose more than one?
Just like anything we do this. Do this with your finger. Do this. First, focus.
Okay.
First, focus.
All right.
Okay. There's my first focus, and when I get that one, then I get to go, oh, wait a minute. If we focus in too many directions at once, we go nowhere creative. So it's going to be first focus, develop that. Then you go to a second focus, develop that. And you're actually building your skill set so it becomes whole. But we are going to everybody's got to pick a first focus.
Sure. No big questions right now, but I'm sure some will come along as we.
Okay, cool. Good. Deb?
I also, it looks amazing, and I'm really curious to hear more of the details to kind of know, which way to head. Yep.
Okay, good. Catherine?
Actually, they both, Mary Lee and Deb just spoke to exactly what I would want to speak to.
Okay, good. Wilson? Which is not Wilson. I don't know.
Rebecca.
I was going to say that's not right. I don't know. I can't think of what the name is, but I know it's not Wilson.
Rebecca. Yeah, same thing. I mean, I'm just intrigued. I just learned about this 24 hours ago, and so I'm just excited.
Cool. Good. Stacy.
Hey, I think that, again, I recently learned about this. I'm happy to be a part of PAC in any way possible. So I think I want a little bit more details on, and I'm sure you're going to get to it, like what the involvement is, and a little bit more about each so I can kind of figure out where I would belong. I would also ask, is it going to be a little bit of like a two-way, sort of like we might have interest, but maybe you can help guide us on where you think we might fit as well?
Yeah. I mean, for sure that'll happen. Usually what we do is people get to say what they think they're interested in, and then we'll say, okay, well, let's look at where you are right now and what your opportunities are. Do you think this is the best match given your time availability and what's available in your region? I mean, do you want to do a lot of traveling? How long would it take you to get, that? So really helping you process through the logistics of once the idea forms, then we know at least where you're interested to say, let's look at option 2, because given what else you're doing, I don't know whether that might be your best option. You could try it, but it could be a little intense or a little crazy given what else you have going on in your life. So how about Kathleen? How about you?
Well, I did not see my calling because mine is supposed to be Teepa Snow's groupie. So,
well, that's the Teepa tour, having a good time with Teepa thing. Yeah, no, that's all cool. We got that going on. Liz,
no, I'm really excited about it. I think, I do have a full-time job, although I would love to leave it. I have to be realistic, and I can certainly travel a couple times a month. And I'm happy to assist. I do like to teach. I do that a lot now.
Okay.
But my ability to take on like 12 learners like Peg and Lynn do might be limited.
Okay. And that's where we'll sort of sort through that a little bit. Okay. Yeah. I don't know who iPad is because there's no picture. Or 301. Who's got?
That's me.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
me.
So that's you. Okay. You were a picture and now you're just a phone.
I don't understand how to work this. I've never done this before, so I'll have to read up on it for next time.
Okay, there's Peg. Okay, who's 919? They may have just turned on their phone.
Melanie.
Oh, it's Melanie. Hey, Mel. I don't know why I didn't recognize that number.
919-896-1835.
Yep, that's you. Okay.
That's me. Surprise.
Okay. Hey. Good. Anything you want to say, add, ask?
Well, I need to figure out how to do all of them because Matthew goes to college in 4 years.
There you go.
And so I'm going to need to stay very, very, very busy. So just go ahead and...
When her nest empties out, she'll be looking for things to fill the nest or leaving the nest herself. So she's not in the nest. There you go. Option 2, leave the nest.
So I'm going to have lots and lots of extra time, which is never a good thing for anybody in my world.
You definitely will. It appears that someone has come to the door of Amanda's new house.
The doorbell.
And we want you all to know that because evidently you may not have been unaware that there was someone here, so you needed to know. So anyhow.
And I'm gonna put y'all on mute, and so if you don't hear me, that's why, because there police car is going by, so I'm gonna put y'all on mute.
Oh, okay. You're more interesting than we are. Peg, do you want to say anything, or are you just listening in right this minute?
Me?
Yeah.
What are we talking about? I'm sorry. I just got out of the biggest traffic jam. I went to the post office 2 streets away, and I'm flying in the door. So give me the question again.
Okay, so when we talk about these apprentice days and either being a lead or a support, we're going to be working on first focus. Just keep your ears open, and we'll see how it goes for you.
Let me get focused, okay?
Okay, get focused.
All right, here I go.
All right, so behind me in a second, Amanda is going to put down some of the detail under some of the lead options so that we can sort of lay this out for you a little bit. And we're not going to get into a lot of meat to it, but you will get that once you tell us what you think you're most interested in. We'll send you the information that can give you the data to make the decision, maybe with an additional phone call or contact for one of us, Lynn, Manda, or I. Okay, so let's go to the leads. And we're going to talk a little bit about lead speaker options. So I'm going to shift over a little bit. So Manda is going to be able to be visually present for you. Let's see here. No, let me turn my body. Well, oh, let me go this way. All right. I have a hard time with left and right, which you all are sort of familiar with. Okay, so speaker, lead speaker. The options are to be the lead for groups within organizational trainings of 45 or less. You will have an assistant or a support trainer that's with you.
45 or more.
45 or more, excuse me, speaker, 45 or more. So these are larger groups within organizations who want PAC knowledge and awareness, and you will be responsible for using AELC and doing presentations, but not for skill return demonstration. So you're a speaker. You're focusing on awareness and knowledge, and you show them the skill, and you offer opportunities for them to play with the skill a tiny bit, but they are not demonstrating skill to you. And you're not responsible for getting them to demonstrate. If some of them opt out, they just want to sit there, it is not your job to get them to do it because they're larger groups. And so the second option, so that's one, is you have groups of greater than 45 in an organization. The second is that you're asked by an agency, organization, or program or project to deliver content. So it could be as short as an hour, as long as 6. Okay, she's going to put it on a document instead. I'm just going to tell you because we figured you can't read that. Sorry. We figured it out. We're a little slow. Whoop. the second, when I'm no longer doing as many public speaking opportunities as I'm currently doing, which is at this point somewhere between 4 to 6 days a week, there will be a void that is created. My goal is to have people to fill that void before the void becomes large. And so we start off with the lead speakers being able to do smaller events, but public speaking events. And they do it in a style and a presentation similar to mine, but they're very own. So that over time, as I step away from that more and more, there are people out there who are delivering it. So we don't lose our awareness and knowledge opportunities throughout the US, Canada, England, we've been asked to go to South Africa. I mean, there are places all over the place that are starting to say, do you have somebody who can do a talk? And there's all kinds of organizations. So as I'm moving away from that mode, except for the largest or the biggest or the most different compared to what we're currently doing, different populations, we'll need other people who are prepared and interested and willing to deliver. And so we're building that storage house and building your skill set so you can take on bigger, better, build your skills, get comfortable with it. So that's what that one's for. The third option is to start to develop your skill as a speaker on webinar Zooms so that it's a virtual audience, it's a virtual presentation, they're shorter content areas, but your mode of delivery is through webinars like we're doing right now. And so you're using the webinar format with the Zoom visual and the props and even putting people in small groups to deliver the PAC message to people who may or may not be able to come to a central location. But we can bring them together for periods of time to get the awareness, the knowledge, and to see the skills at least. And it would involve being able to use the technology to share your screen, to bring up a video, to use AELC, the same kinds of things, but in this particular format. And then the fourth option is specialty talks. So once you get the basic core PAC things, then it might be talking about delirium, depression, dementia, talking about different dementias, talking about in-the-home safety issues, talking about, but always with the PAC format and background. And so you build your skill and knowledge so that you can deliver awareness and knowledge in any of those formats, but in those specialty talks. Short as an hour, long as a day. Okay. So that's the speaker. Those are the options of becoming a PAC speaker, if that's your first focus. Thoughts, ideas about that? Thumbs up or thumbs down, just, okay, for those who have visual regard. Okay, cool. Now, to do that, you will have to be accomplished. So in order to be signed off and ready to roll, you will be accomplished as a trainer, a presenter, and in your PAC knowledge and skill use. PPA, hand under hand, PAC language, GEMS, and visual verbal touch cues. And that means the apprentice days, what we're working on is you being able to demonstrate that you're there and work to get there. Or at the end, you know what you need to work on to get there. So that's how your apprentice days would be guided and directed and geared on those 2 days. Practicing ahead of time, coming in and having more practice, getting feedback, working with each other, working with me, working with Manda, working with Lynn during these first ones. And then knowing at that point, I've got it, I'm on the list, or this is where I need to grow and develop in these particular areas. And I'm going to work with somebody. I've got a plan. This is my plan. I'm going to enact a plan so that I'm ready to roll as soon as I get ready to roll. And then when we get the opportunities, your name's on the list and you go on and you're able to deliver. And so you're on that list. Now, at this point, what we have set up at the level for the organization is that you would get $900 a day to do that. And that's what we're asking people. They pay you $900 a day plus your travel. Now, the responsibilities are that you have to connect with Tracy, you have to do all the paperwork, you have to work with Dan to get the travel worked out. So there are details that you have to go through, and those are the mechanics of it. But the first step is to find out if you're even interested in doing it and what the payoff is for doing it and how that works. So that's for speaker. Okay? Lead trainer. Be a lead trainer. The options are, we have several courses that were...
Or do you want me to tell you? I just put it up.
Oh, you did?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I thought
Amanda's been busy. Look at that. She's very quick.
Woo! Wow.
I know. That wasn't on there a few seconds ago. Okay, we have skills days, which are being advertised and they're available. They are done with a lead trainer and a support trainer. There are 45 people or less in an organization or a community or an agency. And you have 4.5 hours of content or 6 hours of content, and you deliver that content, and they practice those skills, and you watch them do the skills. And part of your responsibility is making sure during that day everybody gets feedback on the skills that they're trained in. PPA, hand under hand, visual verbal touch, GEMS. They're getting feedback on that. And these skills days are not, these are not the certification course days. These are skill days that would be delivered to a community or agency or organization. There's also a 2-day skill event. The first day of which is content, and the second one is working within that organization to make sure they are delivering those skills in simulated events or real life events. So that involves more coaching the day after. But in all cases, you're doing some coaching in addition to your training. And then we're looking to develop online courses. Oh, it says, please move this window from, oh, and I don't know.
Click on something else.
No, I did not.
What's it doing?
I don't know. I didn't touch it.
Okay.
Okay. I don't know.
Mind if it's on?
We're developing online courses, and part of the online course development is to be able to train that online course and have people use skills with that online course. Amanda's done one. We're going to be doing more. And as we do those, we're looking for people to run those online courses with people and to help them with their skills in that online format. And then the last one is any kind of specialty talk for a smaller group for which there is skill use. So if you were doing a talk, let's say on Lewy body dementia, and it was how do you help people complete ADLs using hand under hand with Lewy body, then part of what you would do is demonstrate, and they would do a return demonstration. And so that's the difference between a speaker gig and a trainer gig, is that there's this skills element that the audience is expected to demonstrate and you're expected to keep up with and give them feedback on. So therefore, the skills needed to do this kind of work is a little bit different than the speaker work. So in addition to being an accomplished trainer, you need to be an accomplished coach, and you need to be a proficient presenter or speaker. But you need to be accomplished in your knowledge and your skills for PAC stuff. And so these are options where there's a little greater depth. We're working towards some skill stuff. And so that's why you're a trainer versus just a speaker. The third lead that you might have is the mentor lead. And those are the certification lead mentors. So that's every course has a lead mentor. Those are the CERT Skills Day leadership. And then you guide and assist on the CERT consult, CERT coach, CERT trainer, and it will also involve CERT engagement coordinator. You take responsibility for the entire team being ready to roll, getting a chance, developing their skills, working with the learners, making sure all the learners are engaged and active, So it's the 2 days. It also does those 2-day skills kind of depth where you're working with learners, learning mentors to develop their skills over those days. So you have to work above and beyond just being a mentor. You are mentoring mentors and training trainers or training coaches so you have the responsibility of coordinating with me, but also giving everybody a chance on day one to start working on their skills and then giving them feedback about that. And doing all the logistics of getting all the materials there, the room set up, the materials present and available, working with the host, and then doing all the follow-up. And making sure that when I get there, we have huddle up. And that may mean running late, going early, working with everybody, being on your feet and sort of doing a double check and check back. So that's the lead mentor position. So it is the most demanding as far as skill set goes because you're basically only one level under where I'm at. And you're holding everybody else up and responsible, but you're also holding them accountable. So it's a lot to manage. And so therefore you must be accomplished as a trainer, as a coach, as a consultant. You also have to be competent and accomplished as a presenter because you're also presenting. And then you have to be accomplished in your knowledge and skills. So it is basically the gumball machine of this. That's the put it all together. There is also the possibility that you could become a virtual lead mentor for online work. So you lead the mentor program for online activities. And that's in the development phase, but just so you know, not everything would necessarily involve being somewhere. You could be doing that virtually, but you have to demonstrate your ability to do it in person before you can do it virtually. And then finally under lead, you could become a lead consultant. And right now, Kathy is getting ready to roll out the first demo of the online support series. We also have creative solutions, which we'll be rolling out, and webinars connected to that, as well as handling the individual inquiries we get at PAC from families, from communities, from agencies about situations. So if you want to become a lead consultant, that's an area you could specialize in. So we'll pause there for a second and sort of take stock of how everybody's feeling about that information and content. So let me do a stop share here for a second. Okay, so anybody have any thoughts, questions, comments, ideas about that?
This is Stacy. I can go first.
Stacy.
It's a little overwhelming, to be honest, and I think as probably a novice, obviously, just from hearing all that, it might be kind of good if we're beginning to start as a support and then move towards the leads. Because right now, I don't think I'd, be competent for any of that. But I don't know how anyone else is feeling.
Well, and that's why we wanted to make sure that we offered the whole range, because once you hear what we're asking for at the lead, you may say, whoa, hang on, I need to do it as a support mode first so I get my feet wet, and then I'm going to be ready to move forward. But first step, my first focus is in the support role. And that's very reasonable. So good. Rebecca, it looked like you were going to think of something.
Yes. My question, I'm certainly mostly interested in doing the speaker role as it relates to what I currently do. But my question would be is, do you have enough, it sounds like you've got a lot of interest, do you have enough that this would be, would speaking outside of PAC be competition? Do you sign a non-compete, that kind of stuff?
At this point, if what you're doing you're comfortable doing what you're doing, you would keep doing that. There would be some sort of possible non-compete. We'd have to work it out because frankly, we get more requests than I can handle already. And we've got to figure out how to meet those needs because we don't want people not getting their needs met. And as I pull back more and more, there's going to need more and more needs. So we've got to sort of figure out how to distribute it. The numbers are typically going up significantly.
Right.
So, and there's no end in sight, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Catherine?
Yeah, I have a question about trajectory, sort of. I definitely see some interest for myself in a lead position, but like Stacy, I absolutely feel that I need to really get grounded in a support position first. Do you have an idea of how you want this to flow for folks? The steps along the way, if I choose a support role, should it be in direct correlation to the eventual lead role? Or is there some playing around? Right now I want to focus on support as a mentor, then I want to focus support as a trainer. Sort of how are you seeing how we are going to go on this journey?
And the answer is each one of you is so unique that I think many of you think you want something, and then after you play in the sandbox a little bit, you go, actually, I'm not liking that as well as I thought I would like it. I like elements of it, and I think most of the elements I like of it are speaking elements. So I think I want to go over here and play in speaking a little bit because I've got it, but I don't really enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. This is the part I'm not liking as much. This is the part I like better than I thought I would. So I want to check this out a little bit and see how that flows. So we don't have rules. We have ideas, but again, this is that individual growth pattern that until people try it out a little bit, all of you are coming from such different places and you do such different things every day. What fits into your life and how it builds out for you, it's just going to really vary because I think, you can think you want to travel and then you travel some and you go, I think this sucks. I don't want to travel anymore. I mean, this is really, really overwhelming. And getting from an airport to a hotel and then to the venue and getting everything sorted out. These people are crazy. I don't like doing this. I want to have people come to an office and work with me. I've changed my mind. That's, you don't know till you try something. And the cool thing about what I found out is there's plenty of opportunities for all kinds of these kinds of things. And we're filling such a void right now that there's lots of possibilities. So I don't have an absolute pathway. I know that there's lots of connectors and we can weave in and out until you find the direction that feels right for you.
Okay. A follow-up question. Are we going to continue having these apprentice days to maybe even really explore? How often are you expecting to explore maybe other options as we move forward?
Right. We're talking about for sure every 6 months there'll be apprentice days, and then in between there'll be some skills days where we're working specifically either on, I'm sharing specialty content. So we're doing webinars on specialty content. We're doing in-person training on mobility skills or interaction skills or environmental assessments. I mean, so there's going to be lots of opportunities and people have to decide how and when they want to participate. But the opportunities will be there.
Excellent.
And these are people on the inside track as opposed to people on the outside track for whom they have to pay for these opportunities. You guys have these opportunities, but there'll be a commitment of time that you put into it in order to get this out of it. So I offer the service for free, and then you have to figure out how you have that day off to go do that. And there may be a stipend in some cases when it's an apprentice day kind of phenomenon. There may, we'll work it as best we can to provide what we can provide. And then there's an expectation of a sort of shared responsibility to get people where they want to drive to, intellectually or skill-wise. So yes.
Thanks.
Anybody else?
I actually have a couple of questions.
Yep.
So it looks like things are focusing that you're going to increase the online presence and online availability. And I know that's definitely something that I'm interested in at my stage of life. But are you looking at with these things that people would become like an employee relationship, or is it more a consultant, as far as how you would work more from a logistics standpoint?
Initially, probably it's more of an hourly position.
Okay.
Down the road, we don't know because we're still figuring out how things are going to work for everybody,
right?
And how we're going to cross Canadian borders and how we're going to make all that work.
Yeah.
For everybody, and get products to people where they need them and get resources where they need to be, because it's a little confusing sometimes trying to figure out how to get all this stuff to work internationally.
Yeah. I know. We make it difficult up here.
So we're working on it. We don't have all the answers. I think as it grows and builds, it'll become clear how it's going to happen. Because we just don't know right now until we figure out what people end up being interested in and what that actually looks like.
So will there be follow-up after this sort of on the individual basis, figuring out what we're looking at?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect. So you'll be getting some resources out to you, basically based on this document. And you guys will pick what's your first focus.
Okay.
And I just went over the leads. Now I'm going to sort of do the same kind of thing for the supports.
Okay.
And under each one, you'll have skills needed, responsibilities and financials, and sort of the connections into the PAC company that you would have in order to do that, who you would be working with. So you are trying to make an informed choice, but there's also conversation, I suspect, that's going to take place for many people, which is fine. Okay, so let's switch over and let's look at support. So let me go back to sharing a screen. Yep. Okay, so support-wise, if you want to be a support speaker, there are two things. Number one, you can do the 6-part series. And the 6-part series are 6 1.5-hour sessions that can be done for community people, for family members, for a church organization, for a synagogue, for whatever. They're people that you bring together, and we've broken content into 6 pieces. They can be lunch and learns. They could be a whole variety of things, but there's 6 pieces. You get people to come, you get people set up, and then you deliver this 6-part series. And it's a speaker thing. So you're going to show them the skill, they can play with the skill, but there's not a return demonstration of the skill necessarily. You're just letting them know there are those skills. And if people want to pursue it more, you can connect them up with where they can get that, or you could possibly choose to do more, but that's that. And then there's this partner work where you have a primary person and then you're the helper. So that's where you use your DVD support. There's going to be DVD support. So as Amanda's saying, we may break some of this DVD stuff down, and so that it's smaller pieces, it's deliverable in small chunks. It could be things like the skills DVD broken down into smaller pieces.
It's just not a workshop.
But you're not doing the whole workshop. You're there supporting or partnering with a DVD or with another person doing a speaking engagement. But you're using a lot of DVD support.
But it's more than PAC doesn't.
And so typically PAC won't be the primary. You'll be doing the primary, but you'll be using the resources. So those are things that you can choose to do. Trainer-wise, you are the support trainer for those 2-day events, the skills events. You assist. You're the assistant. You're the one who's backing the person up. You're taking pieces of the day. You're being present. You're helping with the skills demos. You're being eyes and ears. You're doing some coaching, but you do not have primary responsibility for making sure it all runs and making all those relationships happen. You're there in a support role. You're going to be helping out, but you don't lead. And so it's your chance to learn how to lead without having to lead. And as you become more and more skilled, the goal ultimately for us is you move into a lead position and we can give you support people who are learning how to do it. But you start off with somebody who's doing it already because they've done it with me or they've done it under my guidance. And so now they can take the lead and you're going to be assisting them until you figure out the ropes, and then you potentially could take the lead. Or you say, you know what, I like being the support person. I'm going to stay in that role because that way I can be present, I can learn a lot, I can enjoy it a lot, and I don't have the ultimate responsibility for it. And that's as far as I want to go with it. And that's okay, because these gigs, if you will, or these assignments always require a trainer and a support. So there's always going to be a support position available, because we want two people to be present, because these are relationships where we've agreed that the people who are there, up to 45 of them, will get feedback on their skills. And you can't do that if you're by yourself. So you need that second person to help be eyes and feedback provider and coach. The support mentor position is one that many of you have experienced either as a receiver, a learner, or you've done it, which is at the CERT events. You're the person who takes learners. You're the one who runs small group pieces. You're the one who does the follow-up. So you become skilled enough that you can help someone else develop and use the skills, but you also have a support person who helps you do that. You have your lead mentor, and then ultimately you have Lynn as your primary within the organization, who's responsible for all the mentors. And it is a more complex task, but it is not as complex as being lead mentor. So you get chances to practice. The reason you would want to be a support mentor is you want to get better at training, coaching, consulting, and helping other people build those skills. You can also do some virtual work as well. So that's another way you could do that, but not be as committed to doing travel, etc., down the road. So that's a support. You could become a support to go to a lead, or you can just stay as a support mentor. You can select certain courses. You only want to do certain courses, or you could actually become able to do all types of certification courses. The trainer course, the coach course, the consultant course, and then the engagement course. So it's your call on that as to where you want to start to develop those skills and how far you want to go. Then there's the support where you're a TIPA assist. So part of that opportunity is you get to role play with me. You get to, if you choose, and there are opportunities, you do a little piece. You take one time around the AELC, and I give you feedback and support in that. You can do as little or as much as you want to do. Or you do some PR and sales table work, so you start to be able to speak about PAC to others and help them appreciate where they're coming from. So it's more consulting, it's responding to questions, it's being able to help people appreciate what it is they may be able to get from stuff that we have, how to have free access, what we have available to them so that it meets their needs. And I can't do a lot of that when I'm at those larger events. And now we're starting to talk about 200, 500, 600 people at an event. Where there needs to be somebody available to help people who are often coming with significant questions. And I have a line of 40 people, and there's no way I can get to everybody. And I don't even have cards I can give to everybody and, say I'll get back to you later. So it's an opportunity for becoming more skillful yourself, but also to meet a different kind of need. And Mary's done some of that, so she has an awareness of that. And there'll be skills developed in that area. And then the last one is consultant. And that's with events where you do some partner work. Again, these are partnered series where you will have the opportunity for the online or in person where you support a lead consultant, but you're working with people who are either in a support series group, in a support group that are doing the creative solutions. We're working through situations, and your job is to be supportive because there's more than one set of people going through that. So you're helping and guiding and supporting in that, but you're not leading it. So that one's, we're still developing that, but it's getting ready to roll in May. So it's going to come active in May, June, July. So it's coming up relatively soon. We want to have people who think they're interested in it lined up to get interested in it as we roll it out this time. So I'll quit sharing the screen and we'll go back and sort of do a little wrapping up. That's the waterfront. Lots of beaches to play in. Lots of roads to explore. And what we'll be doing is sending you out some specifics for you to decide on first focus. So there you go.
I like it.
So it's pretty intense, it's big, but we wanted to give you all the options so that you can sort of figure out where you think you want to explore first, because we can't figure out where people want to go if you don't know where you want to go. So we wanted to give you the waterfront. That's what we know the waterfront is right now.
Who should we turn to with helping us narrow and focus? Because I've got a couple things I'm balancing in my head, and I think it would be helpful to speak to you or Lynn or Amanda. What's the process for having that happen once we get our materials?
When the document comes, and it'll come out the next day or so, I would say. They'll get back with Amanda, and when we figure out which you think you might be interested in, you may be talking to one person, or maybe you'll end up talking to two people. You may get referred back to me so we can explore it more, but we'll get more info from you before we know which one to say, but it's going to be Amanda, Lynn, or I more than likely.
Okay.
But it may depend on what you say you're interested in as to who to talk to first.
So I have a question. Is this your first round of apprenticeships? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the guinea pigs.
Yeah, I've been,
Yes.
well, yes and no. I've already been doing some of it, just one-on-one. This is the first generalized approach to it because I've been doing some one-on-one stuff with Peg, with Leslie, with Kelly, with Manda, with Lynn. And so we've learned some in the smaller settings, and so now we're building it into a process. But we've explored it a little bit and played with it a little bit. So we have some ideas of what's helpful, what's not helpful, what gets to be overwhelming. That's why we put it in bite-sized pieces with all the options. But you got to pick an option.
That's the hard part.
It is. It is. So Peg goes, yeah, pick an option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else questions? Thoughts?
I'm very excited to see the options. Yes.
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 Well, we think we've got it put together, and we're excited because I'm excited to find people who want to do this and get it and are developing the skill to do this because it's big now. I mean, it's taking on roots and legs and arms, and it's becoming, people are talking about this at a national and international level, that they see it making a difference in how we deliver the kind of support and care that people who are living with dementia are asking for.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Tifa, will the document that you guys send out have a little bit of information as far as time commitments? I mean, in my personal experience, I have a full-time job, and whether it's something I'm going to transition out of to take on more responsibility, I'm not sure yet. I need to, obviously explore with you guys. But maybe something like in the document that could help us would be, time and finance a little bit.
Yeah, it has that on it. And it's also going to give you the range of how you can start and where it could go a little bit. But, some of that is up to people. If you only ever want to do this much, then probably this kind of role is where you want to move to. If you're thinking about wanting to make this bigger and bigger part of what you want to do, then these roles may be the ones you want to think about.
Okay.
Yeah. And if you want to stay local, this may be more of a direction to go versus if you want to think bigger picture, then this may be a direction to go.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's a wonderful addition. I really do, to the program. Coming from still somewhat of a newbie and novice in certain areas, this is really going to help us.
Yes.
Joining to focus and hone our skills. And you're absolutely right. Where you think you might want to go is not necessarily where you end up.
I mean, I'll attest to that. Who knew? You know, when I started doing this stuff, Melanie and I were playing around in North Carolina. So I think the thing that I would say to folks is, you know, where you start off isn't necessarily where you end at all. But being willing to explore things, that's really where we're at right now, because the number of requests and interests we're getting is way beyond what our current group can meet.
Right.
And we've got to have people prepared to take it on when we're getting asked. And so this is our development phase to get ready for what is quickly becoming more than we have people to manage right now. And we've got to respond to the need, or we can't change the culture. You can't tell people, well, in 2 years I'll get to you. I mean, that's right, because they're asking now. So that's our goal.
Okay.
So Amanda will be sending something out, and then you'll be getting back, and we'll figure out where everybody's fitting into the pieces of the puzzle, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thanks
Tika.
everybody.
Thanks.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Don't mess with the screen, Tina. Stop recording.